You're really old. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? Yes, 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 yes. Good morning, everybody. This video is going to come out probably before noon on the East Coast. Got a late start today, but wanted to get a video out. I'm Game Time Brian, otherwise known as the Mailman, on my final day off before going back to work tomorrow for my 6-day work week. I'm excited. Battling these flies in here because my dogs must have the door cracked so they can go in and out and whatever. I'm gonna light somebody up. But anyway, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Gonna have a good Sunday. We are in the dog days, like we've talked. We are in the woods, deep. We don't have football for another month and a couple of days. But I wanted to take a look at some very interesting, very, very, very interesting things that have been bothering me about this organization. Jerry Jones. And listen, what Jerry's done with this franchise has been incredible. It really has. I'm not here to crap on Jerry Jones, but the bottom line is it's been a long time since we won, and in any normal organization, is going to have to. You are going to have to pay the piper for your non-successes. You just are. You're going to have to pay the piper for not winning. That's how it works. I found an interview from 11 years ago. I wanted to play it, but before I do, and we'll get into it, I want to break down some training camp stuff. I want to keep this relatively short, but I got a question for my people here, okay? Does Jerry Jones, the GM, is he good? Question mark. Does he deserve to keep his job? Question mark. I was watching a show, and they were talking about some of the good Dallas teams of recent past. And I do remember this one. I believe it was 2016. Dallas led the league with point differential by a large margin. A large margin. That was a year where our offensive line was dominant. And it was also a year where we went 8-8 when should not have happened. We should not have went 8-8. That was a missed opportunity for the Cowboys. We were very, very good that year. But there was one reason why, and that was the head coach, Jason Garrett. Now, that was a major reason. Jason Garrett was allowed to coach the Cowboys for 10 years. They called him Coach Clapp. He was a cheerleader. He was like the Nick Sirianni, even though Nick has gotten to a Super Bowl. Shout out to him. His assistants were. Shane Steichen was the man, but Jerry Jones allowed Jason Garrett to be the head football coach of this franchise for 10 years. God only knows what we could have accomplished if we had an actual football coach. And I'm not trying to be mean. I like Jason. He's a class act. But when it comes to being an NFL football coach, average. Hell of a motivational speaker, but that only goes so far. But that all goes back to one man, Jerry Jones, who to this day wants to take 90% of the success from what happened in the 90s. He was the final guy making the call, even though what he was presented was all the work of Jimmy Johnson. But Let me just play this. It's about a minute long. Let's play this clip of Jerry Jones 11 years ago, discussing his previous 15 years since since 96. So let's just listen to this. This is 11 years ago, people.
Jerry, another thing you said on NBC before the game that raised a lot of eyebrows was if there was a GM who'd been in this role for the last 15 years, you would have fired him.
Yeah, but he doesn't own the team.
Okay, so
I'm just saying, what I really meant was that one of the things you do is if you've got a GM that, in this particular case, owns the team, you go in and work on the mirror. And I don't know if that came out on the interview. We talked about it quite a bit.
But at what point do you look in the mirror and say, am I the right man to continue being GM of this team, or would your team be better with another GM in here?
Yeah, when I bought the team, the night I bought it, I said I would be doing what I'm doing, and that's GM the team, make the final decision on all personnel. That's the way it's always been done. We won 3 Super Bowls doing that, and so I'm going to do it again.
You've also won 1 playoff game in 15 years, so what makes you believe it's still in this team's best interest?
I think that I know how our organization runs, and I know the best way to make decisions and for us, and that's the best way. And I know that's what motivates me as an owner and causes me to basically do the best job that I can.
Now, that was 11 years ago, and he had won one playoff game in 15 years. Since then, since 2014, Dallas has won 3 playoff games. Since that interview. So basically, 4 or 5 playoff wins since 96. Not good enough. Not good enough. Like Jason Garrett, he should have been let go long before he was when he took over for Wade Wilson. Remember, Wade got fired mid-year. Jason Garrett went into New York Giants, won the game midweek, and the rest was history. But they maxed out with Jason Garrett. He should not have been allowed to be there for 10 years. Jason Garrett has went on to do nothing with any other organization. He's now commentating. And I love Jason Garrett as a person. Smart man, very intelligent, a class act. But when it comes to coaching football, maybe he shouldn't have been the coach of the Cowboys. Listen, I don't think anybody should coach in one spot that long unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, who that's what they do. They don't hire a lot of coaches. If you're like inventing something like Tom Landry and his success with the Cowboys, okay. Jimmy Johnson was never going to be here a long time. He just went at it too hard. Burned the candle at both ends. That's just how Jimmy rolled. But that was Jerry Jones's interview. Pompous as it was, he's still the same man. Now if they've seemed to dig in on the financial side, dumping $100 million in the Comstock. You're trying to get every nickel out of the DirecTV contract. His hundreds, and I mean hundreds of businesses outside of the United States. Jerry wants no part of being in the international games if it's not going to be in Mexico. Or, that's just how it is. Jerry wants to make his star shine bright. And I understand that as a business, you want to maximize your talent. I totally get that. I'm not sitting here saying anything less, but it's been a long time since we've done much of anything. We need to get on a roll. There was a team, like just looking back, like I said before, Jason Garrett, that 2016 team. That 2016 team is going to go down as one of the worst ever coached football teams I've ever seen. We had a lot of talent. We led the league in point differential by a large margin and only went 8-8. It's a lost opportunity. But anyway, I want to get to some of the training camp stuff. Let me know. Do you think Jerry Jones, it's not going to happen, but do you think he should step aside, step down? They're not going to do it until he's gone. I'll be curious to see what they do. Stephen Jones is not capable of being the general manager of this football team. Jerry could do it, but Jerry's played the game at a high level. I think at one point he was decent at it. Right now, I don't want to say because I'll get in trouble for saying this. Jerry's not all there mentally. I think he's a good businessman, but when it comes to being aggressive and getting somebody, I don't think he's going to stick his neck out. He ain't going to open his mouth. It's going to be Stephen Jones is saying it's not good for the salary cap. But all right, let's dig in here. Let's assess the roster going into training camp. Okay. Just, some areas that I think that we need to touch on. Now, this is per The Athletic. If we're only looking at the roster construction for the upcoming season, I would give the training camp roster a B-. Now, just remember, our colossal collapse, meltdown, choke, whatever you want to call it, in the playoffs was an organizational choke. Everybody dropped the ball. From the penthouse all the way down to the Cowboys or the trainers. We crapped the bed. Our team was as deep as I've seen a Dallas Cowboys team since the 90s. That's how deep they were. They would just roll players in. When you have a guy like Dorrance Armstrong that was on your bench, just rolling him in, that was, like I've been telling people, that was Jerry Jones's idea of going all in, just having all this depth at every level. And, Tony Pollard wasn't ready to go to start the season. That was a big one. But the thing that hurt us last year was our offensive line. Tyler Biadasz was not good. He's gone now. So we'll see. But The Athletic gives this, our team going into training camp at B-. Anytime you have your quarterback depth chart set with the quality as Dak and Cooper Rush, we're usually going to give you a C- at least. Although I don't believe this roster is as strong as last year's, there's still plenty of high-end talent at most positions. Yes, people don't realize that, most positions. Assuming CeeDee Lamb's situation is resolved, you have a top-tier receiver, a solid number 2 in Brandon Cooks. You have an ascending tight end 1 with Jake Ferguson, and a couple of all-pros on the offensive line. Yes, not counting the rookies who, I really think Brock Hoffman's going to start at center, barring injury, and I think Cooper Beebe is going to add depth and ultimately take over for Zach probably after this year. So, but again, if there's an injury anywhere, they will move Tyler Smith to left tackle, slide Cooper Beebe in, or a TJ Bass. We're very deep on the offensive line. People who don't know, and that's fine. You'll see. We know. The ones know. Our defense, there are 2 all-pro cornerbacks in their prime. That's what I wanted to get to. Trayvon Diggs, people. Trayvon Diggs has not let it go yet. Trayvon Diggs has not had a setback. Trayvon Diggs has not had anything negative happen other than he hasn't what do you call the things that slow down the engine? Not regulator, but anyway, he hasn't let it loose yet, okay? He's still running under a controlled environment. He has to get to that next level in his rehab. He will start a training camp on PUP, work on the side, and slowly ramp up the first 2 weeks of training camp, which is what they should do with all the injured players coming off ACLs. John Stevens, him, Overshown, they're all going to be on the side. Even though Overshown looks like a beast, whatever, that's fine. You have plenty of time. First couple of weeks of training camp, Get them, get Trayvon. The other ones are moving at full speed. Get Trayvon moving, letting it loose without hesitation. He's not there yet, people. So as of right now, he's a question mark to be that guy at the beginning of the season, which enters Deron Bland. Thank God we have Deron Bland. They must really like a lot of what they see from Eric Scott Jr., the human seatbelt, Kalen Carson, who we got from Nevada, who dropped to them. They are in love with this kid like they were Deron Bland. They re-signed Jordan Lewis. But Stephon Gilmore is saying, hey, what about me? What about me? We shall see. If he was smart, he would hold his ground because he wants to come back to Dallas. That's where he wants to play and end his career, is with the Cowboys. But we got to get to that point, right? So Trayvon needs to let it loose. He needs to let it loose. But I don't know that Bland is going to be here long term because of what he's going to get on the open market, just out of the numbers that this man has put up. Somebody going to get him and probably be disappointed because he's a real good tight end. I mean, he's a real good cornerback, but ball hawk. But I don't know that we're going to be able to afford him going forward. But we'll see. We have to see how Trayvon comes back. Trayvon's not where he needs to be, but why I was very curious. I thought they would bring in Gary and Conley. They did, but a cornerback room, the addition of Gary and Conley kind of makes me curious. Like, we have a lot of bodies there. I guess another one's not going to hurt, but that's a curious one for me. Maybe it's just a training camp body. Maybe that's what it is. We shall see. But, Trayvon has a ways to go before he's ready. And the good thing is he has plenty of time to do so. But there are two all-pro cornerbacks in their prime, all-pro pass rusher in his prime, a couple with solid players around them. The special teams unit, in my mind, is top 3 in the league. A kicker, a punter combo. I don't know who's better than them as a combo, but I'm not going to say one because I don't like doing that. So that's where I'm at. But this next stat here, I'm going to share the screen here. This next stat is alarming, people. Okay. We all know Dallas has had a lot of regular season success, right? They've had. We say whatever you want. Dallas has won 3 straight years of 12 wins. You can't do anything else without winning in the regular season, and especially winning your division. Seems like them and the Eagles just take turns winning the division. This year is the Eagles' turn. We'll see if they can do it. But just talking about some of the numbers that we're looking at here, I do think the regular season success has a lot to do with it. Since 1996, after the Cowboys' last Super Bowl win and conference championship appearance, we're coming up on 30 years. We're at 28 years. Yikes. They are 10th in the NFL in regular season wins with 244. Okay, now that number may not mean a lot to you, but Dallas's 244 regular season wins since 2006 ranks them number 10 in the NFL. All 9 teams above them have won the Super Bowl. Think that. Teams 1 through 9 in regular season wins since 96 have won a Super Bowl, except the Cowboys. So what does that tell you? That tells you they're not doing that extra thing that gets you over the hump. They're a very good team. This year is no different. They're not doing anything extra. It's almost like they're spiting people because they shit the bed in the playoffs. Excuse my language. Now, here's another stat. Since 2000, the Cowboys are also 10th in regular season wins. Despite a slow start to the new century, again, all 9 teams ahead of them have won the Super Bowl. The Cowboys haven't sniffed any. Cowboys became a dynasty and won 3 rings, while many view that as Jimmy Johnson's work. Jones also gives himself full credit for that. I'm not saying he shouldn't have credit, but to give full credit, you're kidding yourself, Jerry. You're kidding yourself. That's probably why you haven't won another ring, bro. The other thing is something we've talked about at nauseum, which is that when the same person wears the hat and owner and general manager, 2 distinctly different jobs, the success of one can dilute the view of the other, meaning you're making money hand over foot, your organization is killing it off the field. So in your mind, we just got to win a Super Bowl. Well, we're winning a lot of games. We're close. Different. It's different. It's different. Until this organization realizes that, nothing's going to change. The success of one can dilute the view of the other. Jones has objectively been a widely successful owner his entire time owning the Cowboys. That influences how he views the job of the GM during that time. Jerry Jones is going to go down as a revolutionary in the NFL. Love him or hate him, us Cowboy fans get frustrated with him, but I love Jerry. Jerry wants to win. He just lost his way how to win. And there's not enough important voices. This is where I blame Mark Holmes' bestie, Stephen Jones. And that was last year's fight with Mark when he had Stephen Jones' back. This year, not so much. He's starting to come to my side, but be that as it may. I don't know that there's a voice. I don't know that there's a voice in there that's going to penetrate enough to make change right now. I hate to say it. We're going to have to get lucky if we want to win a Super Bowl. Lucky meaning Marshawn Nealon becomes the next D-Law, which can happen. Marshawn Nealon, I think, is more of a... The more I hear about him, he's a very, very, very physical player, but doesn't have a lot of bend. So if we get pass rush out of him, then the sky's the limit for this guy. But Sam Williams, if Sam Williams can step up, D-Law only had 6 sacks last year. D-Law needs to be better than he was last year. That wasn't good enough, D-Law. D-Law does stop the run well, but we're paying D-Law to get to the quarterback. So we need guys like Nealon to come in. We need guys like Sam Williams. We need Golston to step up. I like him better as an end. I don't know where they're going to use him. I know last year, under Quinn, he was playing tackle. He's 6'6". He's not David Irving. I think he should be at end, but we'll see. We have a lot of options here. Junior Fehoko, he's going to be on the line. He's playing 3-tech. Mozzie Smith. I put Mozzie on the back burner. Well, Osi Odigizua in a contract year actually play a full season. Seems like he gets to week 13 and then he falls apart. His body can't stay healthy and he wears down as the season progresses. All these questions need to be answered. But again, just to wrap the video up, do you think Jerry Jones has done enough as a GM? Yes or no? Do you think that Stephen Jones is the GM in waiting? Let's say, God forbid, something happens to Jerry Jones. Who's going to be the GM? Do you think it's Stephen Jones? Or do you think he's smart enough to hire somebody? I ask you that. That's the question I'm wrestling with, because I don't know that Stephen wants to be the GM of the Cowboys. Because he's already perceived as that, and they've had very little success since 96. They've had 3-4 playoff wins since 96. That's it. Dak's had half of them. So if everybody wants to say Dak's horrible, he's had 2. And he's only been here 8 years. So, and his first year, was a surprise year. But anyway, don't forget, 3 o'clock Eastern time, our channel member Zoom call. Please, I put the Zoom link in the community tab on my YouTube page. Just be ready to roll. I I'm looking forward to it. And just remember one more thing. We still them boys. Late. I'll talk to you. Peace.